Hello, I'm Noah Nerd, and in this video I wanted to just show the process of building a little fun experimental app I created. We get to chase cats around using A-frame and JavaScript. So this is going to be a time-lapse video of the entire thing, chasing cats around as a dog, I guess. And yeah, I'll just be talking about what I'm doing in a rough sense and just show the code. So without further ado, here we go. Blank project. Downloaded all the dependencies I wanted to use in the project. In this case it was A-frame. Started off messing around with A-frame environment generator, but I gave up on that after about I think 30 minutes when I realised it was hard to get to work with the physics system. That's just what I'm doing here. Then I started setting up some basic CSS. So we used some CSS from the project I did before, the CubeGen project. So I just reused a bunch of that just because it's the same ideas. I mean, for a lot of the project actually, it's basically reusing some code from that project because I'd already worked out how to do some bits. And then I'm prototyping the cats, inverted commas. So I added some cubes, generated the same script from before, the for loop. Then I found a low poly cat on Sketchfab, which would serve as the model for the, added it as GLTF. And I was trying to figure out the movement. This took ages. For me to get right. A lot of tweaking, a lot of searching around, including lots of flying cats, lots of crazy cats in every sense of the word. So basically what I'm doing here is going quite fast, but I tried a few different approaches. I tried using tried adding a getting by, what is it? Okay. So in the this is just, that's the flying cats, the aforementioned flying cats. So that's the first behavior that happened when I started to be able to select them by an attribute, I think, and then added a tick function, and the frame registered the component. But the problem was each cat needed an individual reference, and they were all moving in the same direction. If you can tell there. So that was an issue. So to get around that, I tried to create a ID with a unique ID identifier in a for loop, I think, from what I remember. So that was what I started doing at some point. So yeah, random movement. I started to create a function called random movement. In this function, I wanted to select each individual cat. So then here I'm actually basically doing that, adding an ID for each cat with a unique identifier, which is the index. Then I was just, I was running some troubles, which I still got actually with null references when it comes to the 3D space manipulation in terms of updating the position of the cats. So I struggled a bit with that. That was the main struggle with this project, was the movement really, and it's still not really that great. It's still very prototypal. So I started getting some of that working a bit more. At first it was very slight, and then I just made it a bit more extreme with the random integers for the generated positions a bit bigger, which helped with that. So that looks, you can tell how it looks a bit better. So we started getting some random movement, individual random movement, as opposed to then I was here. I needed to remove a cat when you collided it. So basically, the array that was created before cats needed to remove whichever cat was just killed by the dog, as it were, of the player. So I did that. And that's that. That's what I'm doing there. Still getting that error message, but it seems to work most of the time and not crash. So that was good. So the sort of cat movement was working now, the generated cats. And so I decided to add some trees. So just more or less this is the same function as the cat creation. Just create a for loop, though this time it's not randomly generated number, it's just I fixed it to I think 40. So more or less it's a copy of it, creating the with different attributes basically. So just like class of tree, and that's just working on that. So basically how I do it is a for loop. Then add the model, the references to the model, like you have to add the asset in there, GLTF in the HTML as well. I was trying to make it more random at first, just mess around with the randomization of the trees basically. It still needs a bit of an improvement actually, to be honest. It seems like a lot of the time they seem to spawn further away for some reason. This is the Z axis random positioning, but there you go. Wanted to add some sounds, so I've got a cat squealing sound, downloaded that. Added it as HTML, and then just play by JavaScript when the player knocks into the cat. Then I wanted to add the mountain component. I wanted to add a background of some mountain or something. I found this A-frame mountain component, but it's quite hard to actually get it. The script for it, for the component minified, but I eventually found a reference to it. So this one here, but it took a while to find properly. The other one seems the one in the GitHub seems to be out of date or something, but I did eventually find it, downloaded the minified JavaScript and imported it into my project. I was also looking into particle generation, but didn't go with that in the end. So yeah, this is it. I found the minified A-frame mounted component, downloaded that, and that, as they say, was more or less it really. Still very prototypal, still quite buggy in some respects, but a little bit of fun to create a little cat, chase the cat simulator. So this is it in action really. Just generates the environment, so generates the mountains are generated. You chase the cats. And then every time you hit them they go. Movement's still a bit buggy, like I said, it's sort of, sometimes it jibs out. So it needs some work still. Obviously it's very basic looking and almost blocky in some senses. It was a fun little experiment. I wanted to sort of, I don't think I can do it on this project, but I want to get more into like discovering how to do proper path binding and stuff instead of just random XZ coordinates. So that's what I need to do in the future. Maybe not on this project, I don't know. Maybe I'll experiment on it at some point, but I don't really know. It was a bit of fun. And it's sort of, yeah, like in my previous video, the cube gen, sort of an extension of that idea, trying to take it in a different direction. I find that's something good to do. And when you're working on developer projects, experimental little things like this, it's just like build something random and then build something else random based on the code that you've already created, and then just change it and modify it really. So yeah, let's chase the cats. The GitHub repo is on my GitHub. Put the link below if you can check it out if you want. I've been a nerd. Like and subscribe if you like the video. That's about it really. Goodbye. Wanted to spruce it up a bit, so I did a font from Google. Not really spruce it up properly, it's just a sort of basic sprucing up with importing in the font, changing it, blah blah blah, make it look a bit more polished in some sense. But yeah, leave your comments below, just let me know what you think. I know this has been a bit fast, I've just sort of been trying to go over what 4 hours of development time and just sort of give you a sense of what it is to actually work on something prototypal like this, where you just sort of flitting between things and experimenting with code blocks and stuff like that, I guess. So that was interesting in some sense. Yeah, but it's a bit more polished now, a bit more just looks a bit better, I guess. Even though that font's a bit weird. Actually, I might even change it in the future, but yeah. It's just the first one, so that looks sort of stylized in that way. Made it a bit bolder because it was a bit weird. I think it looks a bit better bolder, but anyway, that's a design thing. Yeah, I'll probably post a link to the GitHub repo, like I said. I might put it on itch.io when it's just a bit more polished, probably not now. But yeah, okay, like, subscribe, boy.